Hi and welcome to this week's video. It's amazing how much time gets consumed in thinking and fiddling and waiting for glue to dry. This top deck area is taking longer than I anticipated, mainly because I'm waiting for glue and also because I've changed my mind on a couple of bits, which you'll see towards the back end of the video. So join me and I'll try to tell you what I'm up to. Progress being made. This section of the front decking has been glued into position. It's got the pieces of wood on top and that to hold everything in line. Wax paper between the glue. I had to use staples again down here because I just couldn't get in with clamps sensibly. They'll come out and I'll sand it and I'll fill those holes the same way as I normally do with thin super glue along the side. But as soon as this is cured, I'm going to put in the first couple of bits of ply arch going up. One 3/4 inch wide and one 1.5 inches wide. I'm going to put a 1/3 inch wide one on, or sorry, a 2.5 inch wide third arch section on. That to allow a bit of extra strength in there, and so I've got something really good to rivet to for the anchor nuts when they eventually get sorted. But the 3/4 inch, which will just go flush to here, is to allow for a doubler on the next piece of skin, so it's not just a piece of 1/16 with a screw through trying to hold itself in position. It's effectively 1/8 where the screw's going through. So I'll just get that lot bonded in as soon as this lot's cured. So there's the support bonded in at the moment. Just letting that cure off. Still got to make up the little pieces to go into here. Just a little bit of detail on the engine mounts at the moment, temporarily sort of fitted up just to make sure I could get the starter motor to go through the hole and be enough clearance for any engine sort of rocking during starting. I did have to dress back this area here for the positive terminal from the battery to go onto. Now this is done, I can take this back off. I can create the sort of spaces and bits ready for it to go on with the firewall material between, although that won't be going on until after covering. Get all those little bits sort of set up. I can make up the can to go in through this hole here that will cover the back of the starter motor down there, and we'll have the holes in with fire resistant grommets for the electrics to go, the main power and earth to go through for the starter. The earth will actually go onto this bolt here and the power goes onto there, and the alternator will feed into here, also be earthed against this. So that's the basic sort of layout. Now that we've got that bit done, as I said, I can start making up the can if I get some stainless steel to weld up for that. That can happen at some stage in the future. Anyway, we'll go crack on and try and get this area here all sorted out. So there's a second arch section being fitted just to make it a bit stiffer. It wasn't quite stiff enough. Now I think that's going to stiffen it up an awful lot more. I've had to rethink about what's going on here. The section that's going, the front section is going to be sort of semi-permanent, so it's going to be reasonably fixed, but being able to be removed should it be needed to. So I'm going to bring that to behind this tube with a ledge similar to the sort of mirror image of that ledge there, so that the section going across here could be unscrewed to get in, because it's the one I'm going to probably most likely to need to get into to remove the fuel tank or to access various bits and pieces back there possibly, and wiring along the sides. and I can access the engine mount bolts easily past here. I don't think I'll gain that much more access. So this bit here will be sort of semi-permanent. Excuse my fan making funny noises. This will be grooved in places to take some aluminium for the cowl mounts so they can be adjusted, and they'll be screwed into here. Cleaned up the glue that just squeezed out into the radius here so that the top cover bit will fit a little bit better, and got this little lot flattened off the same way as we did back here along here. Filled in all the staple holes with just making sure there was some wood flour in there. Well, super glue went in and then just pressed some wood flour in after it, and that makes it really hard. The super glue doesn't go off until it goes anaerobic, so get rid of the air from it. So squeeze it, get some soaked into it, then press in the wood flour, and then it goes off pretty much instantly, and just sand it flat. So that's done. That's now done. I just need to cut a strip of wood to go over here, ply to go over here, and then the cover. So I'm just going to bring it slightly short of here and get some blocks to support the edge down here. I'm just going to sand these two bits of ply back to make it 1/8 of an inch, so I can actually put a doubler on this one that's going over, because it's so wide. I think you could just do with a little bit of extra support on the lower edges to stop it from probably quilting out a little bit between the blocks. I've made up these blocks for the mountings for the section. Only 2 of them, more to be made yet. This one's going in here. There'll be a screw going in this corner, but the rest of this block here will be used actually for supporting cable, and then one here for a screw going in, and I'll make up an infill, just a thin infill using a bit of 1/4 by 1/4 going across the gap here. It'll go across the top of this, and there'll be another block a bit like this one. Well, here actually it would be a chunk different. It'd be sort of like a reverse of this one, because it's going to have to be cut in to allow for the doubler on the forward section. This sort of piece here on the forward section. So that'll be made up once we've got the forward section sorted out. There we go. And it'll be also used for cable securing. So cable securing, possibly used for a bit for cable securing, definitely cable securing here. There'll be another block possibly, I might have to take off some of the paint, added here for the earth cable to go in through the top of the firewall can. We'll see what happens. At the moment I'm just going to bond these ones in, and we'll get moving. I'm just going to round that corner off just to make it look a little bit prettier, maybe. Well, there's this centre section in position. I've put some small screws in. That's where I could drill out and put the anchor nuts on for 3mm cap head screws with sort of washers built on. But the more I look at this, the more I sort of think the access which I'm going to get by having this section removable is really small, and what do I need to access at the top? So I'm thinking about actually changing this so that this panel here, this section here down, is removable, so I can get to the tank mountings and the electrics, and having the rest of it up here and the front here bonded into place. So to do that I'll need to strip the paint off here. That's easy enough to do, and put the recesses in for the cowl mounting metal work. I think that's the way I'm going to go, because it's otherwise it's lots of steps trying to get those joints so they'll keep nice and flat all the way over. so it looks nice and smooth. I think it just might look a bit like a sort of patchwork quilt, but a nice open entry panel here, sort of parallel with the base line, well, it'd be a parallelogram, I think would work extremely well. We're going to have to think about that one. But there we go. Okay, decisions made. I'm going to make that section there removable. That's going to be fixed. The front section is going to be fixed. I've sort of tried out sort of reaching through. I can get to everywhere I need to get to. I've only got wires coming through, or we'll have wires coming through holes up here, which will come round to the side, both sides, well, actually mainly on that side, for sensing wires, for the engine management. This side we'll have, but for the magneto stroke ignition switches. The idea of putting them on this side, this is what I'm calling noisy electrics, where you've got the charging and startup system bits and pieces. So noisy electrics this side, the other side will be sensors which are going around past the radio. This will mean that I need to cut 5 1/16 deep slots in here for the aluminium bracket sections for the cowl mounts to go into, and then I'll glue a ply strip over the top and a second ply strip, and then the main ply section going over the top. That'll give me enough depth so I can actually put countersunk screws in to hold the aluminium pieces in position. So that's the decision made. I think that's the way to go. With that there, I'll have to do a little bit of reworking and things. This is all nice and stiff because of the extra bridging that's in there. Double thickness for the panel, double thickness basically all the way around the edge of this panel, once it's all sorted out, so it can come in and out, and it makes all the area around the cabane struts here much easier. I can put leather patches and actually glue the leather patches straight down onto the decking after the covering's gone on, so that it's got a nice little weather seal area around those. I am much happier with that idea. I've been pontificating and thinking about this now for best part of 2 months, sort of thinking out how I'd want it to go and trying to work out access and what we need for access. And it's only really when you actually get the thing there and you look at it and you're dealing with it, you realise I don't need that much access to put a strap over the top of a fuel tank, which effectively is the main reason for having these panels, and for accessing the wiring mounts going down the sides. It's only needed for the access. I could actually even make them slightly narrower, but I'm going up to that height because it makes it easy to feed over the fuel tank. The issue, I won't be bonding the top section on just yet though. I won't be rushing to do that because I've got to sort out where the fuel tank filler neck is going to go. So I'll keep it all screwed as it is, get this section here made up so it's got the support, and then I'll lift this center section off and on several times to get the hole in the middle, and then it'll be bonded. So here's the slots cut in, except the aluminium plate. This will be wet assembled with epoxy, but also have a 4mm bolt going through. And then I've put this strip of plywood on here, and that's held in place by screws at the moment, for the ply that's going to go from here to here for it to land on. and I'm just about to bond in the strip that's going to go all the way over the top of this little lot. Well, that's it for this video, folks. This top decking is proving to be a bit more work than I thought it would be. Definitely eating up some time, but it's getting there. I should imagine it's still got at least another week's worth of work to get it close to finished, and then I've got quite a major job dealing with where the fuel filler cap's going to go. But we'll get to that bit when we get to it. So catch you next week. Bye now. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. You can subscribe or even hit the little bell notification for future videos. Any comments would be appreciated, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Remember, go fly and feel the sky.